Hi everyone, welcome back to Java class. In today's session, you will learn how to connect a Java program with MySQL database using JDBC API. So what is JDBC? JDBC stands for Java Database Connectivity that contains multiple APIs in order to connect your Java program with MySQL database. Or in place of MySQL database, you can use another database like Oracle or SQL Server or any other kind of database which is available in your machine. So to connect your Java programs with a database, you have to follow certain steps. Or here are the 7 steps which are required to connect your Java program with database using JDBC API. So I will discuss all these steps in detail during program implementation. So let us move forward and understand what are the different prerequisites in order to connect your Java program with your MySQL database. So here you can see in order to connect your Java program with MySQL database, you must have a Eclipse IDE or any other IDE that support Java programming language. Second, you have to install MySQL Server, MySQL Workbench or database in your machine. So let us move forward and understand how to follow the steps. So step number 1, you will create a database schema and data table in MySQL database. So these are the queries you will run in MySQL database. So let us move to the MySQL database and execute these queries in order to create database or data table. So here you can see we have written the queries in order to create database. So this is a query, create database jcodebook. You will execute it. Your database jcodebook will be created. You will refresh the schema and you can see the jcodebook database has been created. If you will expand it, we have tables, views, stored procedures, and the functions. We don't have any data table. After this, you will execute this query, use jcodebook. In order to enable the database for use, you will execute it. And here you can see this is highlighted, means jcodebook is highlighted. It means you are working or you are trying to work on this jcodebook database. After this, you will create a data table inside it. So in order to create a data table, you will use a create table query, or here the table name is employee, and it contains the 4 different columns. The first is employee ID, second is name, third is birth date, and fourth is salary. So let me just select this part and execute this query. We will refresh the schema, or inside tables, you can see an employee table has been created that contains all these 4 columns. After creating a table, you have to insert some records. So how will you insert some data inside it? You will use the insert query, and this is a query to insert data inside employee table. Just select this or execute it. You will refresh your schema and you will just see how or this data is inserted or not. So right click on employee, click on select rows, or here you can see one record has been inserted. Let us come back to your script. If you would like to store multiple records inside employee table, you can use this query. So in one go, you can insert multiple records inside a table. Just execute this query, refresh your schema, right click on the employee table, and you can see this is the data. We have 3 different records which we have inserted inside a employee table. So this table we have created. What is the next step? Next step is we will just download a connector or download a MySQL driver that will help us to connect your Java program with this MySQL Workbench database. So let us move back to the concept part and see what is the next step. Step number 2 is you will download and configure MySQL Java connector. So this is very, very important. So how to download the MySQL connector and what is the role of it? The MySQL connector helps us to connect your Java program with MySQL database. So how will you download it? You can use this link, right click on it, you can open a new tab. So here you can see this is a web page. From this web page, you can download the latest MySQL connector. So you can see the latest version is 8.3. So I will not recommend you to download the latest version because sometimes in the new release, they may have some bugs or errors. So I will recommend you to use this version 8.0.33. Select this part. From this, you can select your operating system. So if you are working on Windows, you can select platform independent. Now here you can see this is the zip archive file. You can click on this download button and your zip file will be start or will download in your machine. So after downloading your zip file, let me show you how it will looks like. So this is your MySQL connector. This is a zip file. You will right click on it and you can unzip this file, right? So this is the folder. After unzip this MySQL connector, what will you do? You will expand it. You will go inside it. Inside it, you can see this is a MySQL connector. This is a jar file that contains the APIs which help us to connect your Java program with your MySQL database. So what is the next step? Next step is we have to add this MySQL connector with your Eclipse project. So how will you add it? So let me open the Eclipse ID here. So you can see this is your Eclipse. Inside it, we have created a project lecture 14 JDBC. Inside this project, I would like to connect this MySQL connector. So how will you connect? How will you connect or how will you add this MySQL connector with your project? So right click on it, go to the build path. You will go to the configure build path. Inside it, you can go to the libraries module path. Okay. You will select module path. On the right side, you can see the second option, add external jars. Click on it and you can select your MySQL connector, right? You can select your MySQL connector, select this part, click on open. So you can see here in the module path, your MySQL connector has been added. After this, you will click on apply and close. So inside your project, you can see a reference library folder is created, or inside it, you can see your MySQL connector, or it is showing the location also, right? In my case, it is stored in D drive under download folder, right? So this is your MySQL connector. So MySQL connector is added with your project, right? So this is a mandatory step which help us to connect your Java program with your MySQL database. So what is the next step? Next step is you will create a class. So let us create a class inside this project. So in order to create a class, right click on the project, go to new and class. So here you can use a class name like fetch data, right? Fetch data from MySQL. You can see this is the name of your class and click on finish. Now your class is created. Let us create a package also, means connect Java with MySQL. So this is the name of a package I have created. You can move your class inside this package. Okay, so your class is created. Now inside it, you have to follow the certain steps in order to connect your Java program with MySQL database. So let us go back to the concept part, or here you can see what are the steps. So these are the steps to connect your Java programs with your database using JDBC API. So you have to follow all these steps. So let us move back to your Eclipse ID and follow all the steps. Okay. So step number one is what? Step number one, I will write here the step number one, right? Step number one, you will load, or you can see import the packages, right? Package. So first is you will import the necessary package. Okay, so these are the steps. I have written all the steps over here, right? So import the package. The second one is the load and register JDBC driver. So first you will import the package. So all the JDBC APIs are present inside Java. You can write Java dot, or I can write here Java dot SQL package, right? So inside this package, all classes and all APIs, all interfaces are defined. So this is your step number one. What is the step two? Step two is load and register JDBC driver. So how will you register and load the driver? So we have a method which is present inside a class dot for name. So for name is a method. You can see this method help us. You can see it returns the class object associated with the class or interface with the given string name. So how will you load? Inside it, you will write some string in order to load your driver or register your JDBC driver. So simply you will write the package name is com dot sub package is MySQL. If you are using MySQL, you will write MySQL. If you are using Oracle, you will use the Oracle, right? So then you will write cj dot jdbc dot driver. So this is the way how will you register or load the driver. So this is the step number two, right? So you can see here the compiler is complaining. What is the complaint? Let's see here, right? So it throws an exception, class not found exception. So you can surround this with try or catch. So here you can see we have surrounded it with try or catch. So, and I will write all these steps inside a try block also, right? So this is your step number two. Okay. So let us move on the step number three, that is establish a connection. So how will you establish a connection? We have a method that is a get connection inside driver manager class. So you will write connection con is equal. You can write connection is equal driver manager dot get connection, right? So we have a method get connection. So this method help us to create a connection with your database. So you can see here the basic service for managing a set of JDBC driver, or this will help us to create a connection. So here you will write a URL string. So how will you define the URL string? So I will write it. You will write URL is equal. So what is the URL to connect your Java program with your MySQL database? Simply you will write JDBC, then colon, you will write MySQL. After this, you will write pair of forward slash, then you will write localhost, right? This is a localhost. Then you will write the port number of your MySQL database server. So default port number is 3306. After this, you will write the name of your database. So in our case, the database name is, or database schema name is jcodebook, right? So this you will write. So this is a connection string here, right? So this is a connection string JDBC MySQL localhost 3306, and jcodebook is your database name. You can go to the MySQL and you can see this is your database name jcodebook, right? So let us come back. So here this is a URL string. After this you will pass your username and password. Then you will write the username of MySQL. Please do not forget it. And the password is the root. Here this username and password, right? It belongs to the MySQL username and password. Understand? So this is the root and root in my case. Okay, so this is your connection string. So please remember, do not write your wrong password. This username and password belongs to the MySQL database, MySQL workbench. And here you can see the compiler is complaining. So this method is also throwing some exception of type SQL exception. So inside it, the catch, you can write this exception also. So how will you write it? Okay, so instead of writing a class not found exception, so I can use a super class of all kind of exceptions. So this exception will handle all kind of exceptions that can be thrown by different functions. So this is your step number 3. Step number 4, you will create a statement. So how will you create a statement? Simply you will create an object of statement, right? So this is a statement here. You will write statement is equal, you will write connection dot create statement. So what is the purpose of this method here? You can see it creates a statement object for sending SQL statements to the database. So this interface, right? This statement interface, what is the purpose of it? It execute your queries, right? This from this object you can execute your queries. So this is your step number 4. Statement is equal connection dot create statement. After this, you will create and execute query. So how will you create a query? So for example, I would like to fetch the complete records, right? I would like to fetch the complete records from a database table. So what will be our query? So simply I will write here select star from table name. So our table name is employees. So please do not forget to write the correct name of your table name. So in our case, you can go to the MySQL, or inside it we have a table name employees, right? So here you will use select star from employee. What is the meaning of it? Means I would like to fetch the complete data from the employee table from Java programs. So after this, you will execute your query. So how will you execute your query? How will you execute your query? Inside a statement interface, we have a method like statement dot execute query method, or inside it you will pass your query, right? This query you will pass inside it. So this is your query SQL, or inside this method execute query. So you will not use execute, I will use the execute query method. So just wait a moment. Execute query, right? execute execute query method you will use, or inside it you will pass your query. This method returns to the object of result set. So you will write here result set is equal statement dot execute query. So complete result will be stored in a variable or in an object of a result set. So how will you just process the result set? So this step is the part of your step number 5. What is the step number 6? You will process the result set. So how will you process the result set? Simply you will iterate using a while loop, or inside it, right? You will use the while loop, or inside it you will use the iterator. So the complete result is present inside result set object. So So inside it, you will write the result set dot. We have a method that is a next method. You will remove this part. And what is the purpose of this next method? You can see it moves the cursor forward one row from its current positions. So you can see we have a complete data inside a result set object, that is a data in the form of table, and we have to scan a particular row and we have to display the data, right? So result set dot next, it will forward the cursor to the current row. So let me just get the employee ID. So I can write employee ID is equal. So how will you get? You will use the result set object, result set dot get int you will use, right? So get int will return the integer value, or inside it you will pass a column number that is 1, right? What is the meaning of it? Let me help you to understand. So result set contains the complete data, and we are on the first row using a next method. So how will you get the this data, that employee ID? So you can see the employee ID data type is integer. The name data type is, the name data type is string varchar. The birth date data type is date, and the salary data type is kind of decimal. So if you are trying to fetch the value of first column, right, that is employee ID, so simply you will write here result set dot get int. Here this is the first column, this is the value of the first column, right? In the similar way, you can get the employee name is equal, you will write result set dot get string, right? So the second is the string, here you can see. Okay, so this is the value of string type. So third column value is, you can see, the birth date, and its data type is date. So you will just go back to your Eclipse, and here you will use the date. Date is equal result set dot get date, or inside it you will write the number of the column, that is third, and the last value is your salary, that is of decimal type. You can use double. Salary is equal, you can write salary is equal result set dot get double, right? Or inside it you can pass the column number, that is a 4. So your complete data is present inside these 4 variables: employee ID, name, date, and salary. Right now you can use system.out.println, or inside it you can display the data like employee ID, right? After this, you will display the next. I can use a tab to separate each and every value. You can use the name of an employee, which is present inside a variable name, or here simply you can use again a tab plus next value is the date, and you can add a tab again in order to separate the values, and you can display the salary of an employee. So this is not EMP, this is employee ID. Okay, so guys, this is the way how will you process your result set. I hope you understand. And at the last, your step number 7 is you will close all the connections. So what you have opened, you can open all the connections. The first connection you have opened, the connection dot close. Then you can call statement dot close, right? Then result set dot close. So do not forget to close all the connections. So this program is completed. We have completed all the steps. Now the time to run this program, and let's see what is the output. Our program is connected or not. So let me just show this program. So this is the complete program, you can see. Let us run this and you will see what is the output of it. So here we go, you can see it is showing the complete records, right? You can see the complete records which we have fetched from your MySQL database. If you will insert some more records inside this table, so you can use this command, right? Again, you can use this command. Let me just help you to understand. You will insert one more records, like your employee ID is 4, the next name is Amit, right? Or you can change something date like 1992, or you can use, I'm just using any date, for example 11, and the salary is like 90, right? So I will insert one more records inside your employee table. I will execute it. You can see the employee table, and here we go. This is the data. The 4th records has been inserted. We will go to the Eclipse ID, and you will just simply run this program again, and it will fetch the complete data from the MySQL database. So here we go. You can see this is the fourth record we have fetched. So guys, this is the way how will you connect your Java program with your MySQL database, and how will you fetch and display data using Java programs from the MySQL database. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you understand the concept and the steps how to connect your Java programs with MySQL database. So guys, thanks for watching. In the next session, I will come up with a new video session. So bye for now. Have a great day.